death.
Welcome back, guys, to another Clash Royale video, and today we have another episode of my Clan Royale series where I share some replays from my fellow clan members, and today I've got a couple of battles against Royal Giant decks to share with you guys. In this battle here on the bottom, from my clan, we have King Gwyn facing off against Stylish there, both players level 9 in the Frozen Peak Arena, and right here, King trying to test the waters with a quick mini P.E.K.K.A push, but unfortunately, he doesn't do any damage to the tower in that push there. So he's going to pull back here and try and play it safe. Just use the poison spell here to damage that tower as well as the pump. But Stylish recognizes that he's pretty low in elixir, so he's going to try and go in here with a minion Royal Giant push. Now take a look at this. Musketeer going down to take out the minions, the cannon going down to distract the Royal Giant. Now even though the cannon does die pretty quickly, it's still in my opinion one of the best defenses against the Royal Giant next to the mini P.E.K.K.A, because the cannon only costs 3 elixir, and that makes it a lot easier to get down in time to distract the Royal Giant, whereas with the Inferno Tower, for example, it's a lot harder to have the 5 elixir available to drop down in time to distract the Royal Giant. And also, in my personal opinion, it's always better to have elixir spent on defensive troops versus defensive towers, because your troops will go back on a counter push, whereas your defensive towers will not. And as you can see right here, with that one counter push, King was able to go in there, bring that tower pretty much from full health all the way down to 700 health. Now right here, Musketeer going in there, but unfortunately the Barbarians do go down, taking it out in the process. Now King gonna go ahead here and use this Valkyrie. Now even though the Valkyrie is only level 6 against level 9 Barbarians, with the help of the tower there, she is able to take out all those Barbarians, and once again, Giant going down here in front with another counter push by King. Now this is what I mean with the troops going back on a counter push, whereas your defensive structures will not. And right here, Giant going in there, gonna give King the 1 crown lead so far in this battle. Now poison spell down as well, killing all those fire spirits as well as damaging that furnace. And take a look at this, that Giant is still alive, going on to damage that King tower as well. Now in a moment here, Stylish is going to start setting up another push here on the right hand side with the Royal Giant. This time King is going to try and use the mini P.E.K.K.A as well as the Ice Spirit to counter it, but unfortunately he misplaces his Ice Spirit ever so slightly, placing it too far forward, and in the end the Ice Spirit doesn't attack the Royal Giant. So King takes some more damage to his tower that he didn't really need to, but it wasn't too bad because he still has a pretty strong advantage so far in this battle. Now right here, King putting on the pressure with a giant mini P.E.K.K.A push, and take a look at this, Barbarians going down, but unfortunately for Stylish, the Ice Spirit slowing them down and the Valkyrie going down in time to save the mini P.E.K.K.A. And take a look at how much damage King does to this tower with this one push here. Poison spell going in there as well, Valkyrie getting some additional damage, bringing that tower all the way down to 300 health. And with 15 seconds left, Stylish is going to try desperately here with another Royal Giant push to take out the tower on the right hand side. Now if it were up to me, I would actually let my opponent take the tower on the right hand side, because I know I can just use the poison spell to finish that tower off on the left and give myself a 2 crown victory. But nonetheless, King does get the 1 crown victory. Let's go ahead to the next replay here. So here we are, guys, on the bottom from my clan, we have Joshua 4657 facing off against Grizzly Mix on the top there. And this battle actually happened in a recent tournament that Joshua was participating in. Now Joshua going to go ahead here pretty soon with a Hog Rider minor attack, but quickly here, Grizzly trying to get some quick chip damage done with his Spear Goblins. Nothing to worry about. Now right here on the right hand side, Hog Rider going down with the minor. Now Grizzly is actually going to try and do a Royal Giant Goblin Barrel push in the left hand lane, but unfortunately the Zapspell going down to kill his Goblins, and then Joshua's Goblins going down, taking out the Royal Giant pretty quickly. And this is the weakness with the Royal Giant, guys, is it costs 6 elixir, and by itself it's actually pretty weak. I mean, 2 elixir Stabby Goblins or a 4 elixir mini P.E.K.K.A take out the Royal Giant by itself pretty quickly, and the difference is you've spent 4 elixir on a mini P.E.K.K.A to kill a 6 elixir troop, and your 4 elixir troop is still alive and ready to go on a counter push, whereas your opponent has just spent a total of 6 elixir on one troop, which is now dead. And that's the thing with a Royal Giant strategy, guys, is when you're facing somebody using a Royal Giant, as soon as their Royal Giant goes down, you usually have a really good opening to go on a counterattack, because the Royal Giant pushes take a lot of elixir to set up. So ideally, you want to try and keep your opponent spending their elixir defensively, and that way when they do a Royal Giant push, they don't have like a million support troops around it. And that makes it a lot easier to deal with, and then that way you also have your troops alive to go back on a counter push. And right here so far in this battle, Joshua has a 2 crown lead so far over his opponent using a Royal Giant deck, and he's done a really good job of just keeping the pressure on and preventing his opponent from getting anything set up, and also converting those defensive troops into a counter push. Now right here, Grizzly trying to drop down the elixir pump to get some elixir flowing for later on in the game, but Joshua isn't going to allow it, using that fireball to damage that pump. And as you can see right here, he's just sitting back and waiting for the next Royal Giant push. And Grizzly right here dropping down that Royal Giant right at the bridge. Down goes the Ice Wizard as well as the Mini P.E.K.K.A to counter this push right here. And take a look at this counter push. Both players have spent an even amount of elixir pretty much, but both the Grizzly troops are dead, and both of Joshua's troops are still alive, going back on a counter push. And this is what I mean with the counter pushes against a Royal Giant user. Right here, Mini P.E.K.K.A going in with the Ice Wizard, Hog Rider making his way to the tower, doing some pretty decent damage, and in the end, Joshua is able to get the 3-crown victory. Let's go ahead to the last replay here, guys. So here we are, guys, with the final replay. On the bottom, from my clan, we have Fusion facing off against Muhammad on the top there. Both players level 9 in the Royal Arena. Fusion going to start off by placing a pump on the bottom right corner here. Now Muhammad is using a Hog Rider Royal Giant strategy, which if any of you guys have faced against this strategy, it's actually really hard to counter because your opponents just keep alternating between Hog Rider pushes and Royal Giant pushes, and it's really easy for them to keep the pressure on. But Fusion does a great job in this battle countering both the Hog Rider as well as the Royal Giant. Now right here, Hog Rider going in with the Wizard for support, Prince going in there getting a charge attack off on the Hog Rider, and unfortunately for Muhammad, the Hog Rider doesn't even get one hit in the tower. Now unfortunately right here, one minion does survive by itself, and the Mini P.E.K.K.A doesn't actually make it to the tower. Now I think there, if that last minion actually did die to the tower, the Mini P.E.K.K.A would have at least got one hit on the tower and would have done some decent damage for Fusion, but unfortunately that wasn't the case. But Fusion has a huge elixir lead so far in this battle. He has 2 pumps down as well as a musketeer, facing off against 1 witch on the field right here. Now Muhammad is going to go in with a Royal Giant right here with the witch for support. Fusion going to go ahead and use the princess here to counter the witch skeletons, and then use the Mini P.E.K.K.A to quickly take out the Royal Giant. Now Fusion does take some damage to his tower in the process, but he also is developing a huge elixir lead in the process. Now right here, Dark Prince going in there with the Ice Wizard for support, and unfortunately Muhammad has no elixir left to defend, and this is what I mean about the huge elixir advantage that Fusion was developing. Now right here, dropping down another pump in the bottom right corner here, just really getting ready for the overtime period, or for the double elixir period, sorry, so he can put on the pressure and overwhelm his opponent. Now Fusion going to go ahead here and use his princess to get some quick chip damage to the tower, and also force his opponent's hand. Barbarians going down as well as the Hog Rider to counter the princess. And take a look at this, Musketeer going down with the Dark Prince. Now unfortunately the Hog Rider does get a couple hits off the tower, doing some decent damage in the process, but Fusion is also developing a pretty strong counter push right here with the Dark Prince up front as well as the Musketeer. Now unfortunately the minion horde does take it out pretty quickly, but it does give Fusion time to get another pump down. Now Fusion making a small mistake here, placing the princess right next to the pump as well as the tower, knowing that his opponent has the fireball in his deck, so Muhammad getting some pretty good value for that fireball, taking out the princess, taking out the pump, and also damaging the tower. Royal Giant going to go down here super fast by the Mini P.E.K.K.A, the Prince, as well as the Dark Prince. And Fusion has a really strong counter push right here. Watch how fast these barbarians die to this Dark Prince as well as the princess. Now unfortunately, Muhammad is trying desperately to keep these troops off his tower, dropping down a Hog Rider as well. Mini P.E.K.K.A going in there as well as a Musketeer, but Muhammad getting huge value for this minion horde right here, taking out the Mini P.E.K.K.A, taking out the Musketeer, killing the Dark Prince, and also killing the princess. So really good value out of one minion horde right there, almost eliminating Fusion's entire elixir advantage in the process. But Fusion is going to keep the pressure on. Like I said earlier, you really have to keep the pressure on and try and prevent your opponent from having a bunch of elixir available to set up that one overwhelming push with the Royal Giant. Now Royal Giant sneaking in here, getting 2 hits off. Now Muhammad is trying desperately to take out this tower, given that it is the overtime period, but unfortunately it just will not work. Fusion has too many troops down on the board right here, and take a look at this final counter push by Fusion, taking out that tower, giving Fusion the 1-crown victory. That's going to be the end of the video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.